All right. Are you guys able to hear me? Let me know if you're able to hear me. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm just over here just talking, talking, talking. Can y'all hear me now? Are you able to hear me? Okay. So reporting live from the Queen Tulsa show. We are definitely out here in the field and we want to give you guys a great show today. Thank you all for coming by. Please like, share, and subscribe to the channel. We are reporting live from the Jasmine brand. Wendy Williams' guardian accused of coercing man into oppressive conservatorship and mishandling his funds in $30 million lawsuit by Twyla Amore McDaniel, 228 of 2024, over at the Jasmine brand. The questions surrounding Wendy Williams' legal guardian continue to rise. In 2022, Wells Fargo froze the bank accounts of famed talk show host Wendy Williams over reported concern for her mental state and well-being. The media personality was soon placed under a court-appointed conservatorship with New York lawyer Sabrina Morrissey being tapped to oversee Wendy Williams' health and finances. However, Wendy's family has been very vocal about their disagreement with Morrissey serving as their loved one's guardian. In the trailer of the recently released Where is Wendy Williams docuseries, her sister expresses, "I think the guardianship system is broken. We are her family and you tell me that I'm not capable of taking care of my sister. What should I do?" Wendy's close ones are not the only people who have called out Morrissey. A recent report revealed that the lawyer was previously sued for $30 million for allegedly mishandling a client's finances. The suit names Wendy's guardian, her firm, Morrissey and Morrissey LLP, and about 10 other attorneys as defendants. According to the lawsuit in 2009, New York attorney Michael Flattenhoff, the plaintiff in the case, was representing a man named Jose Vertigo, who was awarded $5.5 million in a personal injury claim. Unfortunately, Vertigo was approached by Flattenhoff's associate Herbert Rodriguez, who reportedly misrepresented Flattenhoff's case handling. The suit stated he told Vertigo the case could not be finalized unless Vertigo consented to a MHL Article 81 guardianship that Vertigo did not want or need. The suit continued, claiming that Rodriguez and his firm initially partnered and conspired with Sabrina Morrissey, Esquire of M&M, to impose on Vertigo and MHL mental hygiene law, Article 81 guardianship. It also said, under the guise of protecting and vindicating Vertigo, they jointly pursued a dual litigation strategy aimed at getting rid of Flomahart and added, defendants have conspired to perpetuate a baseless guardianship over a ward named Jose Vertigo under the guise of protecting Vertigo's best interests. Full story is going to be on jasminebrands.com. Make sure you guys get on over there. And while we are here, let's get into that. In this article, they mention that there was a case of a man named Jose Vertigo, and he was awarded $5.5 million. It was a personal injury claim. This man was injured, however, he wasn't injured to the fact to where he couldn't care for himself, where he couldn't, do like the necessities like around the house, right? Now, in the documents in this report, they are saying that they partnered up with Sabrina Morrissey and they were trying to get one of the representations, kicked off the case. Now, this is very important as we're going to be going through the content because Wendy Williams is under the protection or the guardianship of Sabrina Morrissey, the same woman that took advantage allegedly of Jose Vertigo. Now, we do have some audio. A lot of celebrities have come out and have been very vocal. And to specifically, I think that we should go to one of the hosts that hosted the Wendy Williams show when Wendy was unable to. Let's go ahead and let's take a listen.
I don't know if you guys saw the Wendy Williams special yesterday. Wendy Williams. I had nightmares last night.
How's the audio? Are you able to hear?
I had nightmares last night. I watched it. Watched the whole thing. 1, 2, 3. Wendy Williams has said terrible things about me. At one time in my life, she would say whatever she wanted. You know, that's what she did. She invented the clout talk, where you talked and it was shock jock, and she talked shit about a lot of people, man. And so now we seen this documentary. When we didn't see the documentary and I talked to different artists about her, pretty much their perception was, yo, it's karma. Because she used to talk about everybody. Real talk. And before she got sick or whatever the case may be, I found a way in my heart, because Jesus forgave, to forgive Wendy Williams and become cool with her. Now, Joe, you haven't forgiven others. If you never robbed me, if you never stole money, my wife, my arch enemy, I can find a way to forgive you. I will forgive you. But
now, let's be honest, let's be clear. There are some people that Wendy Williams have, given commentary on, and some people cannot forgive her. Well, Fat Joe says, well, she said things about me. But overall, in her heart, she's a good person. This was her job. Everybody knew that this was Wendy's job. She started off on the radio and she moved to television, and there was an audience for her. So there you have it. Either reach out, have a conversation, or just don't say nothing at all. Let's go.
And so talk is cheap. So what they talking about and what she used to talk about didn't mean much to me. But there's some people that will take it to the grave. Now, it's one of the saddest things I ever seen, right? But what this means, though, right? Somebody who's so famous, somebody who built an empire, because Wendy Williams owned her own show. She had her own production company. In fact, this documentary is under her production company. Her son, Kevin Hunter Jr., was executive producer. Now, this show, documentary, it's all transparency. And so when you're an artist, when you're a public figure, when you're famous like that, our lives become of service to the people. Our lives become of service to the people. And I would figure that her family and Wendy wanted this aired so we could learn either from her mistakes or be in a similar situation.
I think that's exactly why the episode aired. We all need to see this. And like she said, if it can happen to me, it can happen to you. We all kind of live day to day, and some of us live without a care in the world, and some of us, we don't have our affairs in order. So it's always important to have your affairs in order and educate yourselves. Eventually we'll all, get older. We'll all get older, and We just want to avoid those type of hiccups if we can avoid them. Let's go.
Or just learn, period. So my mother, she caught cancer from smoking. My father caught emphysema. That's why I never smoked a cigarette in my life. My brother, we know he had drug problems. I never used drugs in my life. And so what happens is sometimes we got to see it to believe it. We got to see other people go through something so we can know we don't want that in our life. We don't want that to be a part of our life. And so, although that was ugly, it was a learning experience, at least for me.
Yes.
And so I couldn't sleep because I said, man, could they do this to my family? If I got in an accident, if I got Alzheimer's, could they tell my daughter she's not privy to my money? Could they tell?
Think about that, you guys. I want you guys to really think about that. Okay, so your mother or your father, they are millionaires, right? Millionaires. And, you know, I want to take it back here. When we talk about Wendy Williams, first of all, she was a married woman, right? Her husband cheated on her. He not only cheated on her, he had a baby. He had a baby. So when you think about that right there, you're going through a divorce and he has a baby on you, and you're all the years that you've had in this marriage, all the happy memories. And people want to say, "Oh, she just needs to leave." Listen here. Have you ever been in love? And most of us probably have, probably haven't. But listen here. Love will make you do things that you never would have thought that you would have done. Yeah, we could be okay today, but we don't know what tomorrow's going to bring. Let's go.
Tell my family that. And so Wendy has a loving, bonding family. Her sister went on there and said, look, we don't even want the money.
And she has a loving fan base as well. Wendy Williams has a loving fan base as well. Outside of her family, she has people out here that really cares and loves her unconditionally. We want to see Wendy win. Listen here. They was trying to say that Wendy was crazy the whole time. Wendy was saying, I'm going back to my show in September. That's usually when her show would come back. How crazy is the woman? Tell me, how crazy is that woman? Oh, she's crazy. She's losing her mind. No, that's the image that they want y'all to paint. That's the image that y'all want. They want. That's the image that they're trying to force out there on us. We aren't listening to that. Wendy needs the right care. Wendy was getting the help when she was around her father. When she was at her father's house, when we all watched it, y'all. We all watched her being happy. She saw her daddy. If she can't trust nobody at this point in time, she knew she could trust her daddy. Let's go.
If that's what y'all worried about, y'all want to keep the money? We don't even want the money. You know what's crazy is my sister died. My sister was giving birth. And
let's talk about that right there. Let's talk about that. Fat Joe says his sister died as she was giving birth. Let that sink in. How many times have we spoke on our Black women being taken up out of here trying to give birth? Let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. Let's go.
She got into a coma because the epidural went from the waist up. In the papers that the hospital gave us, they said They killed, Killed, my sister in the hospital while giving birth. It wasn't like it was a mistake. It wasn't like this. They said killed, right? My nephew, we got him $2 million in a lawsuit. He was 8 years old. We raised him. When he became 18, we took him to the lawyer, told the lawyer, yo, this is his money, write it over to him. The lawyer tells me in front of my nephew.
And see, like this brother right here, Fat Joe, he had his music career, had his music career and everything. He had a dream, he had a goal. But and still in that process, he knew to do the right thing by his nephew. This was a young man. And you talked about somebody hitting, you didn't um talk about a lawsuit and there's money involved. It is so easy to blow through that money and to not act fairly with that money. That man waited until that boy was 18, his nephew was 18 years old, took him to that attorney and said, hey, let me do the right thing. We need Sabrina and everybody else connected to do the right thing. Release Wendy. Free Wendy. Let's go.
You are the first family that ever had a lawsuit that never found a way to spend the money or say, your nephew got to go to a private school for $200,000 a year. Your nephew needs a Lamborghini to drive to the store. So what people do when they're in charge and they're custodians of money is they take advantage.
And that's what's happening, you guys. Wendy Williams is being taken advantage of. To our royal staff, how is the audio? Are you able to hear me? If we can just get an audio check from our production. We just want to get an audio check. Are we good in the audience? Sound is good? All right. Something is wrong. Wendy thought her brother was Kevin, her son. You think so? Why do you say that? I don't think I caught that part. Which episode was that on? Was that on the episode 1 or 2, or was it on 3 or 4? I'm gonna have to go back and look at that. I think you're talking about when they were at the table and her brother had the wine or whatever the case may be, and she wanted to sit by her dad. Are you referencing that part in the documentary? Okay. As we wait for you to reply, I'm gonna go ahead and give us a play.
And they spend your money.
They do.
So her family, who seemed to be a super honest family, loving family, said, hey, give it to us, man. We don't even, if y'all worried about the money, we don't even need that. We want our sister. We want to help her get better. I don't know if she's going through dementia. They said that. She obviously got a drinking problem. But somewhere in there is still Wendy.
Okay, so we're right at the part. So category lover says yes at the table. Okay, so let's talk about at the table. Let's talk about at the table. When you are locked up in your apartment, right? She in New York. She doesn't have like friends and stuff like that. The only people that's there are the people that are supposed to be taking care of her. When we seen Wendy, and I want you guys to really pay attention, you might have to go back and look. If you go back, thank you, royal family. If you go back and look, was Wendy Williams, did she have breakfast early in the morning, Right here, Wendy, here's your breakfast. Did we ever hear a breakfast call? Did we ever hear, hey, Wendy, here's food, come and eat it? We didn't hear that. What we did see was Will driving that Escalade around. What we did hear is that my husband? Is what we did hear is um, you know, the old boy. It seemed like everybody was driving her around in that vehicle. If that is her vehicle, why isn't that vehicle parked? Why you prancing around town in a Cadillac Escalade? That is Wendy Williams. That is not yours. And guess what? The production crew knew what was going on. They did their due diligence. And whatever excuse they can give us now, I'm willing to accept it. I appreciate it, but keep it airing. I'm glad you shared it. Your phone is on the counter, honey. Honey, the Royal said hello. Honey left his phone home. I'm like, I got up this morning. I'm like, he left his phone on the counter. Okay. Now, the Royal says hello. Hello. All right. Let's get into it.
Like you would see her pop out. And she knew how to take shots. Like, all right, divorced now. He's broke. And go back into the. It's crazy because Wendy is Wendy. Like somewhere in there is Wendy Williams. And she's always entertained. It's crazy as they gave her a tabloid and she looked at it in 1 second. She said, "Ooh, Jennifer ain't going for that. This one ain't go like it's so that
because Wendy is not gone. Wendy is not gone. You think about this, y'all. Yeah, the refrigerator should have been full, but it wasn't. And when her niece had come over, they were like, you want to go and open the fridge? Alex said no. And then the producers was like, because there's nothing in there. It's nothing in there, but you got people that's over her money, right? That what we have Wells Fargo that got a freeze on it, but now that she has money, she don't. Y'all should have been at her damn bed first thing in the morning with a plate of food. You should have been at her bed the first thing that morning with a plate of food. Ain't no way. Ain't no way. I bet y'all ate. I bet you got you something to drink. So the first, and y'all want to know why she was drinking? Girl, she was drinking until the food got there. She had to do something. I'm not saying that it's right. I am not saying that it's right. But what I am saying is, at the end of the day, they should have been waiting for her head and foot. She's a celebrity. But you got Will, every time he's coming for a new look, he got a new chain. Oh, he got his hat. Oh, well, how do I look? He want to know how he looked. What about how Wendy looked? What about her appetite? You know? Fridge should have been full. Absolutely. They couldn't even get a case of water for the fridge. Maybe he spent it on his whole entire wardrobe. Or maybe he was invested into his jewelry company. We don't know. Let's go.
Wendy Williams that everybody loves. Her TV show was #1 for like 14 years in a row. It's in there somewhere, right? But what's sad is how somebody could make you look like you're unfit or you don't have the mentality. Almost like Britney Spears, where they take your empire and they spend it how they want to. I don't know who a manager dude was. He definitely, let me tell you something. I'm Fat Joe the Rapper. I've been rapping for 30 years.
You have. Hello, Red.
every day, Louis Vuitton, every.
If you were gifted a membership, thank Miss Judy Coles. Lil Red, you were gifted a membership. Shout out to Miss Judy Coles, Butterflies, and welcome to the royal family.
Day fly. That's what I like to do. Every day looking great. But even me, who's doing great and at the prime of my life financially, I have friends that be like, yo, slow up the Louis, slow up the Christian Dior, slow up to this. Somehow her manager was dipper fresh than me.
Listen, when I tell you Will was on there, it was given, baby, if he had hair, it was going to be hair, makeup. It was going to be petty, Manny. It was going to be all of the things. Let's be honest. That man was fresher than Wendy. That man was fresher than Wendy. And you know what? He gave me the vibe of like a Kevin. He gave me that Kevin vibe. You know what I'm saying? He gave me that Kevin vibe. And I think that he was around because he reminded Wendy of Kevin. Let's talk about it. Let's go. Fat Joe, go off.
Louis more, Gucci more, this.
What do you have?
I don't want to call him out. I don't know what his
call him out.
Is, where he gets his money from, whatever the case may be. But there's obviously people that were pushing her to do a podcast. At the state, I've seen the documentary. She is unfit to do that.
Hello, it's all fake anyway. Welcome to the party. Drive on in. Get you some beverage. We got a bottle of water. We got little snacks back there. Have at it. Welcome.
And so people are pushing her. This gives me the DMX theory. You know, DMX had a drug problem. And he had people around him, and I would ask him, like, yo, why you ain't telling him this and this? And they'd be like, yo, he'll fire us. So in other words, you have to be an enabler. Or you get fired. And rest in peace to the God DMX. But I'm just giving you
well, let's talk about it. When we talk about our previous legends, you know, when we talk about Whitney Houston, when we talk about Prince, when we talk about DMX, when we talk about the legends that have come before us and they are no longer here. And whether they have substance problems, mental health problems, or anything like that, I think the effective way for us to support them is to encourage and put out content because they'll see it. They'll see it one way or another. Wendy loves to see herself. Anytime that we're talking about her, we need to continue to keep talking about her because she is the star. She is a legendary icon and one of our leaders in the community of media and all around the world. Let's go.
Reflection of what goes on, you know, and people want to be attached to greatness. And I don't care, even if Wendy's doing bad right now, she's still greatness.
You better say it. Listen, through my ups and downs, even at rock bottom, we got this, baby. We got this. Can we hashtag free Wendy? Let's go.
She's still one of the greatest that did it. Successful woman. At her worst, she's still better than most people.
Amen.
And so it ended up with the apartment being empty. I get it. Her legs are bad. She got to walk up the stairs. If you didn't know why she kept showing people her feet, is the doctor says she had a 2% chance to ever walk again. And the fact that she was still walking, she was proud of it.
How you doing? Okay. Mother says, I'm going to show you my feet. I'm going to show you I can walk. That when the doctor said no, baby, God said yes. When the doctor said no, and when man said no, God said yes. I'm a living testimony. If anybody is out there, you got a testimony, you know what it is. Can we hashtag free Wendy? Let's hashtag free Wendy. Let's free her. Let's get her into the conservatorship that loves her, which is her family, which is her daddy, which is her son. Come on, y'all. Oh, that's Fat Joe. Fat Joe is speaking right now. He's sounding off. He's saying, "Hey, Wendy, you spoke about me in the past and this, that, and the third. But guess what? I've turned a new leaf. I've turned a new leaf. I forgive you. I want the best for you. You let me host. I was a co-host on your show when you were out. I want to see you win. I want to protect you. And this is what we need. We need more men to come out and say, I stand with this woman. I protect this woman." Because whether you liked her or not, she gave you some shine. You were being talked about. Now you're not talked about. Now you're looking around looking crazy. Let's free Wendy.
All praises to God. And so it was sad to me that people would prey on somebody, and right in front of us, when Wendy Williams did the Walk of Fame, there was millions of people out there. When she did a show every day, we seen people cheering. Everything. What can we do? If we love her, if we love what she did for pop culture, American culture, what can we do to help Wendy Williams? That should be the number one petition. How can we help Wendy Williams?
And that's it. And that's just how it goes. How can we help her? Now, I'm glad you brought that up because that's where we are on to right now. All right, so we have Steve Wilkos is fighting for Wendy Williams. Let's get into this.
One of the saddest things I ever seen. That Wendy Williams that
Oh.
everybody loved.
Okay, that was Fat Joe. All right, give me 1 second.
The Wendy Williams show, Steve Wilkos, who also has a lot to say about what he saw over the weekend. So, Steve, good to see you. Thanks for taking the time this morning.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
So, Steve, you're not only a fan, but a friend of Wendy Williams, right? And when we saw the documentary, it is disturbing, to say the least, in some of the things that were put into the documentary. When was the last time you actually spoke to Wendy herself? And do you have any indication that things were as bad as they were portrayed in the documentary?
Well, first of all, I had a lot of contact with Wendy over the years. We're about the same age. She invited me to her birthday party and things like that.
Now listen, Steve Wilkos had his battle, and if you guys know Steve Wilkos, the Steve Wilkos show, he was actually he had started off as as like security on the Jerry Springer show, and now he has his own show, and so some people might say, well, oh my God, that man is so aggressive. Baby, it's scripted TV, and it's an audience for it. They love the shock. It's shock value. What's gonna get y'all excited and get y'all talking? Y'all gonna tune in, like Wendy did. How you doing?
So we had a nice personal relationship off camera too. And the last time I was on her show, I was a guest and we were sitting on the couch. And I remember her talking to me, and she wasn't the typical Wendy Williams. She was missing a beat. She seemed a little forgetful. And this is probably about 4 or 5 years ago, and I thought something was off then. And now to watch this documentary, whoever greenlit this thing, really, I don't know for what reason, because
I know for what reason. It was to inform Black individuals, white individuals, America, the people around the country. This woman is under a guardianship that is just really not good for her, her family, her health. I can give you a million reasons why it's not it. I can give you a million reasons why I'm glad they showed it. I'm glad they showed it. Our girl isn't being protected. Our girl is going through the motions. Molly, you in danger, girl. That's what it's giving right now. Let's go.
I think about the time when I was at my lowest and struggling with things, and I can't imagine a camera crew following me around, filming me at my lowest depths of my life, and that's what we're doing with Wendy. It doesn't put her in a good light. She's obviously got some.
But listen, when we talk about media, when is black people ever like shown really in a good light? Let's talk about it. When a sister or a brother is going through, I mean, look at Whitney Houston, rest in peace. I mean, that woman was all plastered and dragged through the news. Y'all don't. Let's go.
Mental issues going on, some medical problems, some addiction problems, and to show her interacting with people while she's undergoing these things, which is not the typical Wendy, not the Wendy that most of us all know and love. I just think this a terrible disservice to Wendy.
Yeah, I mean, they showed video when you knew that she didn't think that they were going to air some of that stuff. So do you feel like the producers basically exploited her?
Of course. I mean, they're filming her sleeping. I mean, what is the.
But listen, yes, she was sleeping. Oh, you're welcome, Wani11. Wani11 says, thank you, QUEENTULSA, for always keeping Wendy lifted up in prayer, support, and the respect she deserves. Absolutely. Our butterflies, y'all drop y'all butterflies in the chat for Wendy. We want to extend our butterfly wings and we want to wrap her up in them, okay? And then we're going to fly away with her, okay? How about that? Gonna put her on our back and we're going to fly away. Get into it.
Looking like she's passed out or whatever.
But listen, I'm glad that he brought that point up. Oh, they recording her while she sleep. Well, there was no food brought to her. The moment she wakes up her eyes, there should be food right there. Okay, let's get you up. Let's wipe your face. Let's, I don't know how you want to do this. You want to eat before or after you brush your teeth. It should have been a schedule. Like it should have been a schedule. I worked with individuals with disabilities before. I've worked in a home where it was what do you call it? It's like they're independent. They have their own place, and you just you go in and you assist. You go in and you assist. The people still have rights. They can say, hey, I don't want to eat right now. They can say, hey, I don't want to go right now. But if they want something, you don't tell somebody they can't have it. They have rights. And she wanted her money. That's Sabrina Morrissey. She wants her money. Let's go.
Listen, Wendy's she is a big star, and she obviously has people that drivers and assistants and all these people. Well, I think it's, in my opinion, in their benefit that she does things like this, because I got to imagine not working for a few years, having all these people around. That's a huge financial strain. So there's people that probably have motivation for her to do things like this,
but see, it wouldn't have been no financial strength if they did the right thing by this woman. When they signed on that dotted line or whatever the agreement was, they had a commitment to give her the best service that she deserved as a human being. It doesn't matter if she's Wendy Williams or not, but while she's a legend, she's a celebrity. If you ever watched her show, like y'all get, stop talking about her show. She, from 6 years old, when she went back to her dad, she brought up stories from when she was a young girl talking to him. Free Wendy.
When that's not the Wendy you see on the show. And I hear people saying, "Oh, it's karma because what she did on her show." It's a job, man, just like entertainment. And people criticize me the way sometimes I yell at my guests, whatever. I'm like, it's a show and it's entertainment. And when I go home, that's not who I am. And a lot of the part with Wendy is if you ever talk to her away from her show, even on the show, she's a lovely person. Yeah, she criticizes whatever. She's not being mean or trying to be hurtful. And
Wendy understands the assignment. Many of your big actors, they understand the assignment, right? A lot of us content creators, we understand the assignment. And let's go.
And this is very mean and hurtful to her. Just to see, and then to show all her medical problems, like they're showing her feet and everything. And I say, what is the purpose of that?
Well, the purpose is they said that she wouldn't be able to walk. And she said that she only feels 2% of her feet. And guess what? By God, my God, today, that woman is walking. And she's going to get her feeling back up in them feet. And when the enemy says no, God says yes. Let's go.
Right. The feet, her without her wigs, which she loved so much, right? She talked about those wigs on her show oftentimes. You know, she's under the.
Yeah. Well, you know, Wendy is a particular age, and Wendy does things on her own, right? Wendy is living life on Wendy's terms. That's what Wendy's doing. Okay, let's get into this. Sabrina Morrissey is a member of Morrissey LLP. Sabrina focuses her solo practice on trust and estates law, guardianships, and small corporation matters. She is on the Part 36 list as a special referee, guardian ad litem, court evaluator, and attorney for alleged incapacitated persons. Sabrina enjoys her work with the elderly, those with mental and physical disabilities, and their families. She is AV rated by Martindale Hubbell by both peers and the judiciary for having the highest levels of integrity and skill. Now, baby, let's take that back because I didn't find any integrity and skill in what Wendy's going through. And then they say that she loves the elderly and the individuals with disabilities and mental disabilities. You know what? Hold on. I gotta do this in Wendy's fashion. Okay. I gotta do this in Wendy's fashion. Come on, Miss Wendy. Okay. Y'all know Miss Wendy would have those glasses, the pointies. Hmm. We're doing it that way today. Okay. Let's give up these hot topics like this. Give me 1 second. All right. Wendy's guardian, Sabrina Morrissey, was accused of pursuing a baseless guardianship over a New York man who was awarded a $5.5 million personal injury claim. Sabrina Sabrina has served in numerous roles within the New York Women's Bar Association as vice president, treasurer, recording secretary, and a member of the board of directors. She has been the co chair of the NYWBA Elder Law and Disabilities Committee and co chair of the WBASNY Elder Law and Trust and Estates Committee. She also serves as WBASNY Foundation Treasurer. She's dealing with a lot of money. And Sabrina looks forward to her new role as president. Hold on. Okay. The case was opened in November of 2022 and August of 2023. The plaintiff filed they discontinued the above entitled action without prejudice and without cost to either party as against the other, which means Flownhart is allowed to refile charges after the claim or bring the case to another court, depending on the statute of limitations. Sabrina looks forward to her new role as president of NYWBA for the 2023-2024 year. She welcomes the challenges and rewards it will bring. She is profoundly grateful for the support she has already received from past presidents and members. Ongoing ex parte communications between judges in the guardianship part and guardian attorneys have also facilitated the scheme. Defendants have conspired to perpetuate a baseless guardianship over a ward named Jose Vertigo under the guise of protecting Vertigo's best interest, the lawsuit alleged. So I want you guys to understand who we're dealing with, this individual's past, the past accusations. And with those type of accusations, I don't feel comfortable. I don't feel comfortable with her being on Wendy Williams, being her guardian. You know what I mean? I mean, it's a bit much. It's a bit much. I do want to read one more article. It's actually by the Oh, I actually want to play an article. Uh, Wendy's best friend. You know, Wendy's best friend speaks out. And so, without further ado,
circumstances, but I know it's really important for you to speak up for your friend. Let's talk about what matters most to you. I just got a piece of information.
this is Wendy Williams' best friend. She's about to speak. Okay, Wendy Williams' best friend is about to speak. Okay, hashtag free Wendy, please. If we can hashtag that. And if I need some help, I need some help. If anybody is in the chat, one of our royal heirs or our royal family, would you mind dropping how people could send me the tea? I'm looking for some individuals that wouldn't mind gathering, researching information, being some investigators on this Wendy Williams case. I want to be able to inform the rest of the audience of what's going on, any updates, any changes in the case, any court dates or anything like that when we are able to speak about them. But please, one of our family, is her foot condition fixable? Her foot condition, we gonna pray for it, and anything is possible in Jesus' name. Amen. Okay, absolutely. All right, let's get into it. This is Wendy Williams' best friend. How you doing?
That the woman who is currently the appointed guardian has been accused of a scheme to rob a different client. There's a $30 million suit against her. You have said you have concerns about what is going on with this guardianship. How so?
When I was in New York and staying with Wendy in the summer, I noticed when she would call, she had no access to her money. So
Keep this out. What her friends are? What this is? What you call a sister, a friend. This is a best friend. Wendy called her best friend and said, "Hey, they're on the phone. I don't have any food." Her best friend says, "Well, what do you need? Are you hungry for?" Okay, you got it. This woman is acting as a guardian or a woman that's looking over an individual that's in need from many miles away on the other side of the world. Let's get into it.
every time she had to do anything that she had to pay for, she had to go through the guardian. And she would call to order her breakfast at 7:30 in the morning with the guardian, and she would take the order, and the order wouldn't show up until sometimes noon. And so Wendy wouldn't have any food. And when I went back to LA, I would have to send her food from Los Angeles to New York through delivery service because she the communication wasn't there.
The communication wasn't there. Don't we know? Okay, so I never saw the Guardian on camera. I never saw the Guardian on camera. Let's talk about it. Where's Wendy's money?
And she had no other access to money than this Guardian. And so that's what was concerning to me because she was telling me she didn't have food. And her publicist also, who lives out in LA, both of us were going back and forth sending food to Wendy because she wasn't having access to food.
You know, I was reading in here, Regina, where you were like,
certainly,
where you were worried that one of the impacts of this documentary, or whatever you want to call it, is going to be that Wendy won't work again. But do you believe that she'll ever be in control of her? Go ahead, please.
I think that the depiction of this, what I thought was going to be a comeback kid story, seems to be like a demise of Wendy's story. And I haven't heard an official diagnosis from a doctor. You know, I've heard from this team that we don't know who the team is, and from Kevin and her nephew Travis, that no doctor has actually confirmed these diagnoses. So, I mean, maybe I'm in denial because I'm so close to the issue. And I have, in reflection, I see the behaviors that could potentially be such a diagnosis, but I don't want to believe that she is, at this point, unproducible. That's not my opinion.
I'll tell you, when I was with her,
Well, it really doesn't matter at this point. We heard from Wendy's best friend. Wendy can bounce back from this. We're going to continue to keep praying for her. There was an article on The Sun. Now, peep this out. Under fire, Wendy Williams, guardian, accused of robbing client in $30 million lawsuit while controlling troubled host finances. Wendy Williams, the Guardian, has been accused of a scheme to rob a client in a $30 million lawsuit while controlling the troubled host's finances. The U.S. Sun can exclusively reveal that Wendy's guardian, Sabrina Morrissey, her firm Morrissey and Morrissey LLP, and about 10 other people, attorneys, were named as defendants in the lawsuit. Okay? Now, peep this out. Morrissey and other attorneys were accused in the suit of conspiring to perpetuate a baseless guardianship against an individual, Jose Vertigo in New York, who had won $5.5 million in a personal injury claim. The plaintiff in the case, attorney Michael Fladenhoff of the Fladenhoff law firm, PLLC, represented Vertigo after he sustained head and back injuries from a construction accident. The case was opened in November of 2022, and in August of 2023, the plaintiff filed the discontinued the above entitled action without prejudice and without cost to either party as against the other, which means Floman Hoft is allowed to refile charges after the claim or bring the case to another court, depending on the statute of limitations. Flummenhoft claimed that the trouble started around 2009 when a former associate of his, Herbert Rodriguez Esquire at Schwartz Goldstone Campisi and Cates LLP SGCK, contacted his client. The court documents allege that Rodriguez misrepresented to Vertigo about Flowenhart's handling of his case and told him and his wife, who desperately needed the award money, that his case could not be finalized unless Vertigo consented to an MHL Article 81 guardianship that Vertigo did not want or need. That's where Wendy's guardian, who was criticized by the Star's family in a docuseries by Lifetime that aired this past weekend, allegedly became involved in the disputes. Rodriguez and his firm initially partnered and conspired with Sabrina Morrissey, Esquire of M&M, to impose on Vertigo and MHL mental hygiene law, Article 81 guardianship. The court documents state Under the guise of protecting and vindicating Vertigo, the jointly pursued a dual litigation strategy aimed at getting rid of Flomenhoft and allegedly reaping Morrissey and Morrissey's substantial court awarded fees as guardian. Counsel through litigation, maligning Flomenhart legally and ethically. The suit claims that Wendy's conservator became guardian of Vertigo on January 19th, 2010, and continued to October the 7th of 2015. The complaint also alleges that she was involved in litigation related to the conservatorship. The suit goes on to claim that Morrissey and the firm SGCK were empowered by both the confidence that their fee applications would be judicially rubber stamped and the consistent judicial resistance to affording Vertigo an opportunity to demonstrate his capacity under the New York mental hygiene law and thus the invalidity of the guardianship. Defendants have been untrammeled in their scheme. The suit alleged that guardianship judges also played a role in the alleged scheme. Ongoing ex parte communications between judges in the guardianship part and guardian attorneys have also facilitated the scheme. Defendants have conspired to perpetuate a baseless guardianship over a ward named Jose Vertigo under the guise of protecting Vertigo's best interest, the lawsuit alleged. For more than a decade, defendants have imprisoned Vertigo in a humiliating and oppressive guardianship by manipulating and serially deceiving him, as well as New York Supreme Court and the appellate division. It continued. The complaint, which details over a decade of litigation related to the conservatorship, included filings pertaining to the guardianship of the ward and various other court actions on his supposed behalf, accused Wendy's conservator and other guardianship attorneys of falsely perpetuating a baseless guardianship to silence and legally incapacitated Vertigo from acting on his own behalf. Does that sound familiar to anybody? When we watch that docuseries, in my opinion, observation under the Copyright Act, Fair Use 107, this is translated in a transformative nature. The plaintiff alleged that the litigation, which in part drained Vertigo's settlement with excessive attorney fees, all stemmed from a $5,000 discrepancy in 2007. In the following years, Vertigo was under the control of various guardianship attorneys, including Wendy's current guardian, Morrissey. And shout out to that. Hello, how are you doing? Ariel Summers has rolled in the building, our royal member. She says, thanks, Judy Cole, for the membership. We'll continue next month. Unless the company that was taking money for something. Celebrity Network states Wendy Williams only has $500,000 left. She had at least 20 million. You know what? I read that as well. And I actually spoke on that on Make It Make Sense. He is a fellow creator here on YouTube. Make It Make Sense. One of our royals, would you guys mind, would any royals mind dropping Make It Make Sense's link in the chat? That's one of our fellow neighbors, creators, and yes. All right, let's get into it. A slew of litigation was pursued in the time since Vertigo was placed under guardianship that the suit alleged ate up a massive amount of his personal injury award. The lawsuit alleged, under the banner of supposedly protecting Vertigo, using these sham litigations as a vehicle to amass extraordinary and fraudulently based attorney and guardian fees, plundering Vertigo's multi-million-dollar personal injury recovery and 730 recovering 731 in the process. The case estimated that over Vertigo's initial award, he had 2.4 $2.47 million left after attorney fees, case expenses, and discharge of liens. But in the following years, the defendants allegedly pursued litigation without their clients' consent to the tune of at least another 1.1 million. The claims were dismissed voluntarily before Morrissey or any of the other defendants filed an answer responding to the specific allegations. Morrissey was also contacted for comment in connection with the story. Unwanted conservatorship. The suit alleged that the plaintiffs thwarted for years Vertigo's rightful emancipation from his guardianship and that they strenuously sought to insulate Vertigo from discovering that the guardianship was being exploited for their own personal financial gain. The case claims that Vertigo's daughter had tried to get her father out the conservatorship in 2021. The case alleged that Vertigo's medical records confirmed his capacity for more than a decade. The steadfast refusal of the guardians and the court to arrange for a capacity hearing to determine the necessity of the guardianship ultimately required Fatima, Vertigo's daughter, to file an Article 78 proceeding ordering this hearing. The filing stated. In the suit, multiple doctors gave attestations to Vertigo's cognitive abilities, and they said he was not deficient. One of the doctors wrote, he is not found to be incompetent to a degree that he needs a guardian from neuropsychopathic point of view. More litigation by Wendy's conservator. Flommenhof's complaint alleged that in 2016, Wendy's conservator pursued additional litigation against Flommenhart, to which her ward entered an affidavit. Her client, Vertigo, allegedly wrote at the time, I do not support the lawsuit against Mr. Flomenhart and his law firm. I got the Peachtree money and deposited it into my bank account. I gave Mr. Flomenhart permission to use the rest of the money how he saw fit to pay for my case expenses. I am angry that I am being used. The Guardian is using me to sue Mr. Flomenhart without my permission, and it has, and continues to cost me hundreds of thousands of dollars in attorney's fees. I understand that Mr. Flomenhart tried to get the case dismissed, but the attorney from the law firm for my previous guardian, Michael Weiner, swore that I have been insane since 2003, even though I have never met Mr. Weiner. I understand that Mr. Rodriguez and his current law firm is also supported that lie. I am a functioning, intelligent, and independent person, employed by different companies in different jobs. I am certainly not insane, his statement concluded. Bowman-Hart's latest lawsuit also accused Morrissey and the other defendants of racketeering. As set forth in the proceedings paragraphs, defendants and each of them have engaged in and contributed to a chronic pattern of collusion and conduct entailing both deceit and attempted deceit upon plaintiffs, Vertigo, and the guardians themselves. By reason of the foregoing, plaintiffs have been substantially harmed by sustaining attorney fees and expenses, massive loss of professional time, reputational harm, and delay in receiving apportioned attorneys' fees and investment loss and interest. The suit also claims the defendants violated civil rights law. In violation of the Civil Rights Law number 70, these defendants persecuted each of the matters in the consolidation purportedly on Vertigo's behalf without Vertigo's authorization when he possessed capacity at the right to be free of guardianship control and thus entitled to make his own litigation decisions. The total sum of punitive damages being sought from all of the defendants was $30 million. Wendy's guardianship, as a U.S. Sun first exclusively reported in early 2022, Wendy's bank, Wells Fargo, locked the star out of her account and filed a petition to hold a guardianship hearing for her. Wendy's attorney at the time asserted that Wells Fargo was in possession of several millions of dollars worth of funds belonging to the ailing host. In the documents, Wendy's lawyer said that the star's former financial advisor told the bank that Wendy was of a unsound mind, while Wells Fargo was denying her access to her bank accounts and statements. Wells Fargo then justified its decision to keep Wendy's accounts frozen by referencing its authority under various client agreement to pause or reject instructions for a proposed transaction pending judicial or administrative remedies should they suspect financial exploitation, dementia, or undue influence. Over the next several months, Wendy was placed in a court appointed financial conservatorship under attorney Sabrina Morrissey, which the U.S. Sun previously exclusively revealed. Most conservative cases in New York State are filed under seal. So what that means is, like we can't get into those files. They want to keep those sealed, like from the public or anything like that. But in my conclusion of everything that's going on, there is seriously something going on with that guardianship, that conservatorship. Like I said, if we have anybody out there that's willing to help us put the pieces together, help us mentor, help us continue to keep speaking about this and getting it out there. If you guys can share on your platforms, share to the news stations, share any and everywhere. We want to free Wendy, and she deserves to live a healthy, joyful life on purpose. You know. And so that this concludes our show. I want to thank you all for coming out for the beautiful engagement that we've had today. It's always a pleasure to visit with you all. Now we will go ahead and get into our daily devotional. Okay. We have come to our daily devotional before we close out the broadcast. All right. The field trip of trials. While not pleasant, trials give us the opportunity to connect with God intimately. February 28th, 2024. Psalms 119, 65 through 72. When we are still in school, most of us probably preferred the hands on learning of field trips to classroom lectures. A lot of adults, however, no doubt wish they could absorb life lessons from a book instead of from their own painful mistakes. But the truth is, there are some things we learn best through experience. Some trials are the best result of sin and can play a big corrective role in our lives. God might use them to draw our attention to unhealthy habits, attitudes, or activities we have tolerated or overlooked. No matter how trivial we may think a sin is, it shouldn't have no place in a believer's life. Or it could be that God is showing us something we need to release to Him, perhaps a relationship, goal, or ambition. And sometimes He calls us to exercise self control so that we can pursue Him to a great degree. If we never had any troubles, we would continue in what's comfortable, easy, and enjoyable, but might end up missing God's best for our life. That's why the psalmist said, "It is good for me that I was afflicted, so that I may learn your statuses." 119, verse 71. Any hardship that drives us to God and His word is good for us. That's because what we gain in knowing the Lord is worth so much more than all the wealth and fame the world can offer us. That was your daily devotional, and I am your host, Queen Tulsa. welcome to the Butterfly Lounge, and to all of our royal butterflies, our royal heirs and staff and family. I want to say thank you all so much for coming by. And those of you that just pulled up, thank you for not parking on the lawn, okay? And we appreciate you. On that note, until next time, this concludes our broadcast. So long.